Hi, Virgo. Welcome to Pandora Astrology's monthly horoscope for June of 2021. Well, you're probably going to find that there's a lot of drama happening in the career zone for you this month. And if there is, you can get a mission orders reading at the YouTube link in the description below. At the link in the YouTube description below, to be more precise. So the main news of the month is that Juno is retrograde, also Mercury is retrograde, and there's a solar eclipse coming. And a lot of this stuff is coming down for you in that 10th house of career. So let's take a look. And Julia, what clues do you have for the Virgos of the world about Mercury, their ruling planet, this month?
Very, very good question, Jamie. Well, Virgo, Mercury is the planet that represents our thinking. It also shows us how we communicate as well. And it starts the month off retrograde in the sign of Gemini, which correlates with your 10th house of career. So with Mercury retrograde in this house, you may face some miscommunications on your job, especially with authority figures in your life. That could be anyone from a boss, the people you work with, or if you're not currently working, maybe it's your parents or teachers. So be prepared to have to go back and sort of clear things up. And since the 10th house also represents your life direction overall, this might be a time of reviewing or rethinking your life direction. Perhaps if you're in the process of finding a new job, you have to kind of go back and keep editing your CV. But on the 22nd of the month, Mercury is going to begin to go direct, and that means that these areas of life are going to start moving a lot more smoothly, which is nice. Now, Mars, the planet of action and activity, begins the month in your 11th house. This is the house of friends and the house of the groups you're a part of. Groups meaning if you're a part of any unions, clubs, if you have a gamer circle in your life, if you're in a recovery program, societies as well. So Mars is where we tend to expend a lot of energy, as well as where we could possibly run into some conflict. So you might have some sort of, egos might be running high perhaps in the groups that you're a part of, because Mars can be a very egotistical little planet. You might also run into conflict with the friends in your life too. But by June 11th, Mars is going to be moving into your 12th house, which is the most isolated house in the whole zodiac wheel. So when Mars comes into the 12th house, you might feel like you're just kind of working away at something, but not really getting the credit you deserve, because planets in this house don't tend to get seen very easily. And since Mars can represent our anger, you might not be very direct with your anger. You might be a lot more passive aggressive. You might be a lot more sort of indirect about things. Just be careful about not doing any actions behind other people's backs, because this is also the house of self-undoing. So try to be as above board as possible. Then Venus, the planet of love, beauty, and relationship, starts the month, the very only first day of the month, in your 10th house of career, adding a little bit of luck and harmony with the people you work with and at your job. But by June 2nd, Venus is going to be moving into your 11th house. So that's going to be nice, because Mars is also in the 11th house for the beginning of the month. So there might be some push and pull in terms of conflicts and getting along well with the people in the groups in your life or in your friends. But when Mars moves out of the 11th on June 11th and Venus is still here, that means that you're actually going to be getting along really well with your friends. It can really sort of up the social activity in your life as well. And since the 11th house rules networks of all kind, that also includes internet networks. So this is a wonderful time for doing some online dating as well for all the single Virgos out there.
Oh, that's so nice. Especially because the other relationship themes of the month are more challenging than that. So Juno is retrograde, and Juno is the asteroid goddess that has to do with committed relationships of all kinds, contractual relationships, partnerships, including marriage and business partnerships. When it goes retrograde, we find ourselves rethinking those partnerships, possibly renegotiating the contract, possibly particularly according to the lines of whatever sign Juno is traveling through. In this case, that's Sagittarius. So you may find yourself wanting more freedom, or maybe your partner does. And so get ready to have those discussions and to figure out how to maintain the connection while also giving more space. That Juno falls in your 4th house, so you're likely to be having these discussions inside and relative to your home life. So it's more likely that this impacts you in a domestic way. Although there's a lot of a career stuff going on with this as well, because that Mercury retrograde up here in the 10th house is going to coincide with the new moon. And this month, the new moon is actually an eclipse. And it's a solar eclipse here in Gemini in the 10th house. Now, eclipses are always times when we're forced to look at our shadow, whether we want to or not. Solar eclipses, unlike lunar eclipses, are not so much internal as they are external. Quite often during a solar eclipse, we evince behaviors that anyone could see. And if those behaviors are driven by our shadow, well, trouble can be afoot. This particular one falls in your 10th house. So I think it's really important to not allow yourself to do any behavior in your career, at work, where others could see it, that is the kind of bad behavior that could get you into trouble, or engaged in a cleanup conversation, which is what Mercury is suggesting is going to happen. So beware of all of that. And eclipses are a much better time for re-examining your shadow and sort of, inviting it to tea and getting to know it, rather than just kind of trying to suppress it or run away from it. We can't really run away from our shadow. It's attached.
Oh.
Peter Pan found that out. So yeah, so that one's going to be tricky for sure. Mercury is the trickster, isn't he? The other moon of this month is, I think, a lot more straightforward. It is a full moon in Capricorn, falling in your 5th house of creation, recreation, and procreation. Now, full moons are usually times of high emotion. The paradox is that this full moon being in Capricorn, Capricorn likes to clamp down on the emotion and appear stoic and strong and just be there for everybody else, but not really accept that one has needs oneself. So plenty of people, possibly you, might be feeling that sense of like, nobody takes care of me. Who can take care of me? And the sun over here in the 11th house is saying that you've probably got some friends who could do that you could reach out to. And so this month, trying to set up more balance, and that's really part of what a full moon is about: balance between the sun and the moon, balance in your friendships between who takes care of who, doing some healthy giving and receiving. You can find out a lot more about both of the moons, the eclipse and the full moon, as well as Mercury retrograde and Juno retrograde, in our June 2021 news playlist on our Pandora Astrology YouTube channel. You can also find out much more on our website, pandoraastrology.com, where we always post our horoscopes and a monthly forecast, and you can get classes and you can get readings too. And until next time, we'll see you around the cosmos. Bye.
Bye-bye.